question. What are the plans for the weekend? You wanna lead, Ivy?
Actually, I don't have anything planned this weekend, so it's kind of boring for me. But just the plan for weekend tomorrow, I will have to work. I will do the pre-quant session with Griff, and yeah, because it's evening for them. It's my morning, so that's the plan for tomorrow. And then on Sunday, I'm just gonna chill at the beach. Maybe it's just the rest day for me for this week. So that's it. Should I pass it, Santi? Oh, yeah. I pass it to Juan.
Later today, I will go to my parents' house, and I will stay there for the weekend. That's like my weekend's plan. And here we will continue with the lockdown for 3 weeks more. So it's just like nothing. Stay in the house, and that's why I only visit my parents at the weekends. And how about you, Sep? Could you deliver the piece of your computer?
Oh no, it's still there. Maybe yeah, this box, yeah, but yeah, they didn't came yet, and yeah, I'm just waiting. At least I fixed everything I had to fix, and yeah, the plan for the weekend is rest. I really need to rest. Like this computer is driving me crazy, and yeah, no distractions. Passing to John.
Good morning, everyone. Weekend plans, nothing too much. Hopefully get a run in. Spring has definitely hit Southern California, so it's starting to get warm. But other than getting a nice run in, nothing big planned. Back to you, Santi.
Thank you, Sean. I think the guy that fixed your computer also fix your hair, Jati.
It's the same dude.
Anyway. All right. Not too many plans for this weekend. I had a and some
You're breaking up a lot, Santi. I'm not able to hear anything.
Let me try to change because I'm internet is running really bad. Let me hold on. Give me a second, okay? Do you guys hear me? Okay, good. All right. So I think there's right now. Okay. Okay. If I run into problems, you guys may have to keep moving forward without me. There is the agenda. There's one issue and let me know if you hear me correctly. There's this issue that we need to introduce, which is conviction voting during the Hatch DAO. It's that the terms for the voting when the Hatch DAO is already created and we need to migrate into the final DAO. Okay, that specific period of time when hopefully there will be only one proposal and there will be the voting of migrating to the final DAO. Okay, I don't know if we discussed this, if we need terms for that or not. On the stewards meeting, I was reviewing the Gen Hub, and there is an issue for that. But I'm not sure if we need to have any terms for that. I remember that Griff said that all the deployment is gonna go through Tornado Cash, so no one's gonna know who's deploying all the smart contracts, but there will be someone who will post the proposal, and all of us will vote on that proposal. I don't know if we need to create any kind of terms for that voting, which could be just one if everything goes smoothly and perfect, or could be several of them, because if for any reason, I don't know, we create a proposal and then right away it doesn't pass because some people just leaves the DAO because they want to get their money back, because for any reason, anything can happen. So there may be several votings or proposals and the corresponding votings, and there's the person or the account that creates the proposal, and there's the rest of the accounts who voted. So if you want to give it a thought, we may not need anything, but let's just give it some thoughts, and I can share that with Griff also. It's not here today, but we have Libby here. Hello, Libby. I don't know if we were talking about this issue on the stewards meeting last Wednesday, and I think we've discussed this sometime before. We've talked about this before. Do you know if do you have any idea if we should create or we've discussed about terms for that specific voting period?
So you were saying about the voting period in conviction voting?
No.
Sorry, I think I missed the part.
No. In the Hatch DAO to migrate to final conviction voting DAO.
With that document, who are we trying to protect? The guy who is doing the proposal or anyone who's voting on that?
I think that the one we should protect would be the one putting the proposal. But what's your point on that, Sean?
Well, it's to protect them from what exactly? So you have the Dandelion voting in the Hatch, and then there's going to be a proposal that says, look, we want to upgrade to the Commons DAO with the augmented bonding curve and conviction voting, right? So I just don't know if I'll think about it, but I don't think there's need for terms, because ultimately we're not going to know who's deploying the contract. So I'm not exactly sure what we would need to try to protect the launch from. Does that make sense? So let me think about it. But
well, the process is we will have everything set up through a smart contracts that are deployed by no one known, right? And everything set up, then anyone in the DAO, any member of the DAO, which will be all the hatchers, will have the ability to set up a proposal, launch a proposal, paying the tollgate fees and everything that we set up on which will be, of course, specifically designed so no one messes around. All right, so hopefully there will be one proposal, which will be the proposal that we've discussed before launching the DAO, just to migrate into the conviction voting final DAO. Right. So there's one person that posts the proposal, and then there's the voters. That's the process. That could be several times in the event that the proposal, for any reason, we decide to just discard it, or it doesn't pass, or whatever, and we have to go to another proposal. But at the end of the day, there will be people putting proposals, and the rest of people voting them. That's the process. I don't know if in that specific in those actions we need to run into any kind of terms. Like
No,
we have,
I get the impetus behind it, but I'm not sure there's a reason to add additional terms. I get it because obviously there's a concern that there'll be some competing proposal that not just is out there, but garners community support, or that the proposal people expect to pass, the upgrading to conviction voting and augmenting bond curve for whatever reason doesn't pass. And I get both of those issues. It would be nice if Celeste was already around, because then you could conceivably, if a bad proposal passed, you could challenge it.
Celeste is launching this week.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, theoretically, if Celeste is integrated in the hatch, if a bad proposal does in fact pass, you would, with Celeste, have some basis to challenge it, and then it's just going to come down to a fight. But I'll think about it, but I just don't think there's any terms that are there to protect people in the event the community veers off in a direction that's unexpected. But let me think about it, Santi. But my instinct is to say no. It's at some point it's just a matter of faith that the community is going to kind of head off in the direction that up to this point it seems like the community is heading
right.
So I just don't know if there's a document or a term that can say, other than the fact that we've repeated in a few different documents, hey, this is what we think is going to happen, this is what we would like to happen, but I don't think we can force it to happen or contractually obligate it to happen.
Maybe I think we probably covered from the hatch terms, that first document that we finished. Mm-hmm. But we may want to take a look at that document and see if we need to add some sentence there, just making reference to this process of migrating from the hatch into the final.
I'll definitely look at it, and I think probably the strongest thing we can do is just say, look, this is what the expectations are. But short of literally creating a contract that every hatcher signs amongst themselves, like it would have to be between everyone that conceivably has a TECH token that says, when this proposal, who knows who's going to make it, but someone is probably going to make a proposal that upgrades the hash DAO to the Commons DAO, we all agree to vote for it. Short of a contract like that, I'm just not sure what a document can do. I mean, I'll think about it. I get it, but I'm not sure there's much we can do. But I'll take a look at the hatch terms and see if we can, at the very least, kind of say, hey, look, this is what the expectation is. This is what we think is going to happen, and this is certainly what the community expectation is at this point in time.
Okay. Do you want to add anything there, Olivia?
Yeah, I think it's a bit. I think it would be weird to ask people to sign to something or to say that they will do something. That's why we have a DAO, that people can take the decision that they want. And I think the protection they have is already the rage quit mechanism, that if there is a proposal that they don't like and they don't feel comfortable with, they can just leave. And the only thing they should know is that if they choose to leave, there might be a fee that will be decided by the parameters, right? Of like the exit tribute. So maybe this should be explicit somewhere.
Okay, maybe what, and now that Griff's here, he might be able to clarify. Maybe that conviction voting issue that we have on the legal working group may refer to voting proposals to change the parameters. Is that correct, Griff?
Conviction voting. So it'll
Oh,
be
Dandelion. Excuse me, Dandelion voting.
Yeah, it's really hard because it's always about context. We're talking about during the hatch DAO, right?
Right. Well, I'm referring to that issue that we saw during last Wednesday meeting about Dandelion voting, only legal terms of Dandelion voting, and the only Dandelion voting that I see, well, there's two of them. The one to move the hatch DAO to the final amendment voting curve DAO, or the voting to change the parameters of the DAO, which I believe is going to be Dandelion voting, right?
Yep.
Okay.
And I mean, the DAO can do anything, right? The DAO itself could just vote to start spending money on stuff, but it's very unlikely. I think we've done a good job with our culture and the expectations of what we're going to do to be able to pull off the commons upgrade. But yeah, in an emergency situation, it might also vote to change parameters.
So do you think we should think, and again, Sean, if we forget about what we've been talking up till now and we focus on proposals to change the parameters of the DAO, do you think we should have some terms for that? Considering,
I'll think about it.
Considering that they have to be Dandelion vote, it's going to be Dandelion voting.
Right. I'll think about it, Santi. You know, obviously, I think what you're really getting at, whether it's a legal document, and I agree with Libby that there's something incongruent with the spirit of the community to have kind of these contractual obligations that say, hey, we're not going to do X. That being said, I get the idea of, hey, look, we're concerned that there could be some, you know, odd proposal that comes out at this moment that changes the parameters and really, you know, takes everything in a direction that seems inconsistent with what people's expectations are. So I get that. Whether that's best solved through a document or whether that's best solved through setting the terms of making a proposal in such a way that it discourages, right? Because if you set the fee high enough on making a proposal, then it makes it a little difficult, or at least less likely, that you get a lot of competing proposals, and certainly less likely you'll get ones that kind of fundamentally change the parameters. But I'll take a look, Santi. And I get, like I said, I get the concern. And it feels like this is something that's going to kind of constantly be there, right? I mean,
yeah, exactly. That's what I wanted to say is that the conditions. I mean, the only difference between the hatched out on this like level for like changing parameters and proposals that can you know, change the economy of the DAO is that we replace the rage quit functionality with a bonding curve. But otherwise, for the people, the effect, the like concept is almost the same. It's just different mechanisms to execute them. So whatever, if we write these terms and focus on these terms for the Dandelion DAO, they will be the exact same for the disputable voting and commons upgrade DAO that we end up with. So it's kind of useful to just like focus on them now, get them out, because we will absolutely need them for the final product.
So let me look at it during the week, Santi, and if I make any changes to documents, instead of making it, especially if I do it in any of the older documents, I won't make the change in the document. I'll bring the language to the next legal meeting, and then if we want to add it, we can. If not, then don't.
Okay, perfect. But yeah, I agree with Griff. We're gonna have to have them conviction voting DAOs. So at the end of the day, we might as well just use them almost the same, or just tweaking them a little bit if it's needed for the Dandelion voting. All right. Okay. We almost finished last week. We almost finished with the terms for the distribution of tokens from Scred or Praise or any other method that we might introduce in the future. I think you had to take a couple of we ended up saying, I think I recall that you ended up saying that you had to take a couple of a couple of sentences there. Did you have a chance to do that? You're muted, Sean.
In the praise and distribution one, I'm pretty sure I made any changes we needed to make there. I'll go back and double check. I keep pretty thorough notes, so I'll go back and double check. But this week, I spent the most time in the terms for the proposals. That's that's where I went through and was really looking at how One Hive does a lot of that stuff. So that's where I spent.
Okay, let's keep that document. Just let's leave it almost ready. You take a final look at it during the week. If there is no changes, we can consider that's finished. And you also will think about of the terms for voting. We can discuss that next week. And let's focus now on the new discussion, or the new areas of discussion for the proposal terms. All right. So let me share screen with you guys.
Santi.
Sure.
Last week, I had to prepare a paragraph for the praise distribution, and I made it for the proposals, but I want to share the one that I wrote for the praise distribution before.
Oh, great. Do you want to share the document yourself, or you
yes,
want me to
I can share.
All right, perfect.
It's in the praise impact hour distribution disclaimer, and here it comes. There are several mutual accountability methods in place in the TEC. Here is linked to the mutual accountability methods that SEPT went through voting in the forum. That means we promote transparency in our actions and information availability for the work being done to be easily accessible from different platforms, Discord, YouTube, forum, and others, to promote mutual monitoring and accountability. If any members feels himself or others are not getting enough recognition for their work, he or she can fill the Gravity type form to express the situation and request support to appear in the community, trying to recognize and meet the needs of all parts involved. Our community is very open and loving, so active contributors can request praise powers to participate in distribution of impact hours, or suggest complementary mechanisms like source credit to improve the way we recognize the diversity of contributions. Also, in the transparency audits, the stewards of each working group are suggested to be accountable to its contributors by self-evaluating the praise given for the activities related to the development of the goals, manifesto, roadmap, milestones, and different issues. These audits are published in the forum, and all members of the organization can give feedback to the organization, to the information shown.
That looks pretty good to me. What about you guys? Anyone else want to add any input on Juan Carlos adding?
At first read, I think it looks really good. So I'll double check the document during the week. But first read, I really like it, Juan Carlos.
Great. So then you just take a final review on that, on these terms for distribution, and unless you provide anything that needs to be changed, we'll just leave it there and get it finished. Keep it finished. All right. Let's jump into the proposals, the proposal terms.
Okay, so let's just go down to proposal creator. And like I said, I pulled a lot of this from the way OneHive works, and I highlighted a couple of areas that I'll go through as I kind of cover the section. So obviously TEC is a community-driven DAO, and that the governance will basically operate through suggestions and proposals. OneHive breaks up in their, I'll call them all proposals. They break it up into two types, suggestions and proposals. Proposals ask for money and suggestions don't. At least that's my understanding. And so the next paragraph then goes into before community members make a suggestion or proposal, that they first go to the Discord server or forum. I'm not sure if we want to list both or primarily direct people to one, to discuss the suggestion or proposal first in order to get feedback from the community prior to formalizing that suggestion or proposal. Also, there'll be I'm imagining, because OneHive has this, that we may want to have a kind of draft proposal where people can fill in how it will look. And because I think it just streamlines things and kind of keeps a focus. So then moving into suggestions, this is how they describe suggestions. And I highlighted it because I don't know if the expectation is that we would have something that functions in a similar way. So I have it highlighted, and Griff can probably shed light on whether or not the DAO will operate in a similar way where we'll have suggestions as well as proposals. But at least my understanding is suggestions don't really function the same way as proposals. They're not sitting there, they're not giving out money, and they ultimately don't even, there's no moment where they pass or don't pass. They either just have support or they don't have support. And so if there need to be changes to kind of the governance, my understanding is that those happen through suggestions as opposed to proposals. I don't know if it's a distinction that makes a difference, and we could probably just describe everything as a proposal and lose this distinction between the two. But again, because this is kind of the way OneHive did it, this was kind of my frame of reference for this. Moving down to proposals. Obviously, proposals are requests from the TEC community to distribute TEC tokens from the common pool. In terms of the attributes, this is something we talked about before, whether or not there's going to be toll gates, whether there's going to be any fees in order to make a proposal. And at least up to this point, I haven't seen whether or not there are going to be any requirements in place in order to make proposals, other than going to the Discord server or the forum first and discussing them. So that's...
Can I say?
Yeah.
Just want to say something about the suggestion part before we move along. So the suggestion would be kind of like a signaling proposal, and something we've been trying to do is to move signaling proposals out of the DAO and towards the forum, or even using token log. So using different tools so we don't have this problem of using support that could be going to other proposals that do need that tool, like financial proposals, and putting into signaling proposals since we have other better tools to do that.
Perfect. I will make a note of that. And
but we still have to consider the abstain proposal. Do you get the point of that proposal, Sean?
So I've seen it, Santi. I'm not sure I understand what it is, but it looks like it's at least my reference to it, every time I've seen it, it just looks like a I guess the emoji would be an unhappy face. Like when people are supporting an abstain proposal, it just seems like there's a general unhappiness.
No,
but I can't
no.
tell if it's with us, like what's going on with
Okay.
that specifically.
In conviction voting, everything is dynamic. Okay. Every time someone allocates votes to one proposal, everything changes. Okay. So if I put money into abstain proposal, I'm actually raising the level of support needed for the rest of proposals.
Makes everything harder.
Because I'm allocating, yeah. Okay, so it's a way to make it harder to for proposals to pass, like bringing up the minimum, the minimum. I forgot the name of the term. The minimum level that you have to reach in order to pass that proposal. So when let's say people in the DAO considers that the levels to pass a proposal are too low, and you don't like that, you may put some of your voting into the abstain proposal to try to force that level to be raised.
Right, which will make passing any proposal
Right.
harder, or at least will require higher amounts of conviction.
Right.
In order to do it.
Right. So that
okay,
that always has to be there.
That has to be
Mm-hmm.
there. Okay, so maybe what I'll do then, and Libby may want to correct me if I'm wrong here, because I think you're much stronger on the way things function. I may point out that signaling proposals will not occur in the DAO, and rather are better placed in places like the Discord or Token Log or wherever. And then abstain voting though has to remain, and that will be something that can happen. And that's obviously different than a specific proposal because there's no money request there. So that's fine. I can make those changes.
Yeah, it's not, we can't say like you can't do this. It's just a recommendation for how to better use the tools. So this is not just like Dandelion voting can manage funds, but we don't want Dandelion voting to be managing funds. Same thing with conviction voting. It can have signaling proposals, but we don't want that to happen because it will like interfere in the best use of that tool. So it's just a suggestion to, and maybe mentioning that there, that like we suggest that for signaling means you use this tool, and then yeah, like the abstain proposal that has to remain on chain because it has a purpose on chain.
Gotcha. Understood. I can definitely make those changes. Yeah, so in terms of the proposal and the way proposals will work, in OneHive, I did not see any limitations. I didn't see any amounts of money necessary to like put down in order to make a proposal. So I'm assuming that we're not going to have something similar here, but if there is a contemplation, or if it's in a DAO, I haven't seen it. So other than going and talking about a proposal, and then obviously going to the interface and formally putting the proposal up on the chain, are there going to be any fees, requirements, anything other than what we've kind of already talked about?
Yeah, so it's really too bad because OneHive is upgrading to the same contracts that we're going to use this week, probably. So they're going to have these fees. They're going to have Celeste and all of that stuff. They're in the middle of upgrading to it right now. So
yeah, and
so
it's
yeah,
very clear that they're upgrading. It's just at least again from what I've seen, Griff, I just haven't seen them say, and this is what it's going to
and
look
that's the other thing. OneHive doesn't really have a lot of soft gov, right? They don't really have the legal infrastructure or the cultural. We're setting some nice standards here, honestly. That OneHive kind of just like sidestepped all of that, doing the like tech, like kind of focused on the hard governance and then let the soft governance work itself out. They don't really talk about these things.
Gotcha. That makes me feel better, Griff, insofar as I spent a lot of time in OneHive forums, Discords. Just looking to get a sense, and they're very clear that they're upgrading. But at least from what I saw, I didn't get the sense that those issues had been completely worked out yet.
No, they if you read their covenant, it's kind of just very loose. It's just like, the DAO will govern itself, and we don't want to set any expectations.
Yeah. And so, I guess my question then is, if I want to come in, if Sean wants to come in and make a proposal, then once we've upgraded, what are the expectations on what the attributes will be, other than me obviously discussing it, in the forum or on Discord? What are going to be the?
Did you happen to try out the testnet like Rinkeby thing, or we did it in the last call, right? Where we went through and there was that covenant. So we're gonna have to write this covenant, and I don't know exactly how we'll do it. We could probably try a token lock version with the covenant, where people can write the covenant, and we can have an open permissionless thing, like we're doing with mission, vision, values. Or we could just write it and kind of like vote on it through another method where we don't do the governance theater, as Pat says. So yeah, I would say that really is up to us, is how strongly we want to push the legal stuff. And
well, then let me take a look at that covenant then, because I think the only problem I had with the Wikibee testnet stuff is, I think, and it may have been I was messing around with Celeste as well, but they may have, like, the Wikibee stuff is still up. Like, I can still see the documents, but you can't do anything in it. Like, you can't get, like, I don't even know if the Wikibee tokens were available, or at least the form you filled out to get the test tokens. I think that period had closed.
Yeah. But you don't need the test tokens to read the covenant.
Correct. I just wanted to run through actually creating like a proposal in there, and and kind of walk through that and see what it looked like. But yes, I can see the covenant. At least I'm 90% sure I can.
It's cool that Chewy is here, because he is our OneHive ambassador, unofficially but officially. Chewy, did you ever figure out if those test tokens still exist, or what's up with that?
I never really got back from anyone. I asked Ricardo and Luke and Will, and yeah, I don't know. I think they're not using them anymore, but I'll keep asking, because so far I haven't got back from anyone.
Well, I'll take a look at the covenant and see to what extent we can integrate any of that. And
the other thing is, we can just use it on XDAI and use the latest version. They upgraded their UX a lot. They made a lot of improvements and for this new deployment that they're upgrading to, and it just will take Chewy, do you have any idea on when that will be live and we'll be able to play with it on XDAI?
Sam told me it's this week. Like this next week, he was telling me next week Celeste is going to be up, but yeah, I don't know like the full information.
Next week, as in like 3 to 7 days from now?
Nah, he didn't specify next week. Yeah, 7 days. Let's see.
It was supposed to take a total of like 16 days, And yeah, we're about like halfway that.
Cool.
Okay, well, if we're lucky, then we'll have something that's updated before our next legal meeting. But at least in the short term, I can take a look at the covenant and see what can be integrated from there. And if we're lucky and the upgrade happens in the next week, then all the better. But if not, I don't think that's a big problem.
Cool. This is off topic, but Sean, we should meet up on Monday. I'm gonna be in LA.
Yeah, sounds good. I'll try to make it work, and even if I have to come up from Orange County, I'll come up from Orange County.
Amazing.
You guys are meeting.
Yeah,
yeah, I know, right?
In Meet Space.
When are you flying, Griff?
Well, I'll actually arrive there tomorrow morning, like Saturday morning, but it's mom time on Saturday and Sunday. I'm having like a mom weekend, and then but Monday is work. Even though my mom will be there, sorry, Mom, I gotta work, and this gets to be considered work.
Okay, that's great. That's great. You make sure you take a shot of you too and upload it.
Yeah.
All right. Good. I don't know if there's anything else we want to discuss. No. So you take a look at the praise, the changes that Juan Carlos introduced, and those two little changes that I recall that we talked about last week. And you will take a look at the covenant of One Hive to make sure we can use that. And we start thinking on the proposal terms, the voting terms for the final DAO, which will also may be useful for Dandelion voting in case we want to introduce them there. If not, we will have them for conviction voting, and that'd be fine. All right.
Yeah. Yep. Definitely.
Perfect. Is there anything else anyone wants to bring in? No?
Come to the meme party at night.
All right. Okay. Thank you all for coming. It's 15 minutes short today, which is good.
Great.
Every once in a while to have a short meeting. And let's meet. Let's talk during the week, Sean, if you need my support. And otherwise, let's meet next Friday. All right.
Sounds good.
Okay.
Thank you, guys.
All right. Take care, everyone.
Thank you.
Thanks,
Bye,
guys.
everyone.
Bye-bye.